Hello everyone, good day to you wherever you are in the world, and thank you for joining us. Welcome to this, our final webinar in the series on using video in ELT from Sensations English. I'm Adam, the ELT specialist at Sensations English, and today we are delighted to welcome Russell Stannard, who will be sharing his wisdom on making the best use of the Sensations English platform. Just a reminder that if you are watching this webinar live, a CPD certificate will be sent to you by email 24 hours after the webinar has finished. If you're watching a recording, please make your own note of your professional development activity. The webinar will last an hour and will include time for questions at the end of Russell's talk. Please write your questions in the Q&A box. The Q&A button appears when you move your mouse to the bottom of the Zoom window. If someone has already written the same question, you can click the thumbs up button next to the question to move it higher up the list rather than writing it again. And if you need any help during the webinar, please contact me in the chat box. Sensations English is focused on helping teachers develop their skills. We are delighted to be hosting our first webinar series using video in ELT. We hope this will help you expand how you use video with your classes. We are delighted to offer teachers hundreds of video resources, all graded at 5 levels and all with ready-made learning activities, making video accessible to all learners and hassle-free for teachers. Every week, we create 3 new, up-to-date 5-level resources to give you the most up-to-date content you could ever use with all your learners. Our Sensations English Teachers Edition includes logins for all your students and a digital teacher gradebook, which lets you organize your students into classes, set tasks and monitor them live, and review your learners' progress over time. To celebrate our webinar series, we're offering you a 50% discount on the Sensations English Teachers Edition if you sign up during May, and access to a special 3-week CPD program starting next Monday, the 31st of May. To get this great offer, just go to the link on screen and in the chat to sign up. The program uses a reflective practice approach and focuses on developing your video and digital teaching practice. So this CPD program is structured around small daily tasks, which encourage you to share your experiences and enrich your perspectives. Each day builds on the last, starting with a solid grounding in some basics before moving on to more advanced concepts. There's a live induction session in Zoom and a live midway development session on Zoom to explore your experiences on the program with others. All of these using the Sensations English activities. Get 50% off the Sensations English Teachers Edition and sign up during May. Now, to tell you a little bit more about Russell, today's speaker, he is the founder of teachertrainingvideos.com. He is a previous winner of the British Council Elton's Award, the Times Higher Outstanding Technology Idea, and the University of Westminster Excellence in Teaching. He has given talks in more than 50 countries, and his YouTube channel has more than 60,000 subscribers. Russell shares his knowledge through regular columns in the ELT press and in webinars such as this. Russell, thanks once again for being here, and it's over to you.
Okay, lovely. Can we stop sharing the screen for a minute then? So lovely. Right. Hi guys, lovely to see you all. We've only got about 180 people in the room at the moment. There are actually 1,000 people subscribed for this webinar. I'm sure many of them will be teaching at the moment, and so they can't come along. A big thank you to Adam for that introduction, and a big thank you to Sensations English. Just before I start, yes, this is a commercial talk in one way because they are sponsoring me to do the talk, but I'm going to give you loads of ideas. I'm going to make this really practical, and we're going to hopefully do some really engaging activities. And I promise you that you will be able to take away some ideas from today's lesson, but also see how useful Sensations English is. So guys, just before I start, can I ask you to write in the window if you already know my website? Just say yes or no. I'm just curious to see how many of you actually already know me. It looks like quite a lot of you already know me. There's 1 or 2 who don't, but most people do know my work. That's lovely to see. Brilliant, great, lovely. Okay. Good. Right. Okay. Slowly, there's more people in the room. That's wonderful. Okay, don't worry. If you don't know it, you're going to find out about it later anyway. Lovely. Good. Second question, guys, just so that I know, really curious. Tell me which country you're from. So just write in where you're from, which country. So we got Poland, we got Mexico, Turkey, Romania, Malay. Wow, this is incredible. Estonia, England, France, loads of Azerbaijan, amazing. Ukraine, Thailand, Peru, Switzerland, Spain, Oman, Ecuador, India, incredible. Okay, lovely, amazing, fantastic. This is one of the amazing things about doing presentations this way. Really amazing to see so many people from so many different countries. Right, last question. Tell me where you're sitting. So are you in the kitchen? Are you in the bedroom? Are you sitting out in the garden? Where are you in your office? Someone's on their bed. Someone's in their office. Someone's in the dining room. Someone's in there. We got a few in their bedroom. Is anyone sitting out on their balcony? Someone's sitting on their bed. Someone's in their attic. Someone's in the kitchen. Okay. Bedrooms seem very popular this year. Living room, we got cellar, no balcony. So no, not sitting on the cellar. All right, okay. Yeah, okay. You could be sitting in an area where it's freezing outside. Lovely. Okay, brilliant. Okay, guys, let's get going. And someone's in their man cave. That sounds like a great place. I guess what I'm in is a bit of a man cave at the moment, but okay. So as I said, we're going to try and make this as practical as possible. Obviously, it's all about video. And I'm actually going to start with a quick activity just to get a bit of a feeling. What I'll do is I'm just going to do a quick screen share, and I'm going to jump over really quickly to my presentation. Okay, and I'll just jump in and really quickly tell you what I'm going to talk about. So I want to talk about, first of all, my own personal love affair with video. I love video. I've used it a lot in my own teaching, but I now use it a lot in my own learning. Many of you that follow me know that I learn Polish. I'm struggling with learning Polish, but I'm learning Polish. And then what we're going to do a little bit is think about, well, what do you need to do when you're working with video? So what do we need to think about? And also to think a little bit about what video content is. Now, I'm going to show you some of the stuff on Sensations English, but I'm going to show you lots of activities that you can use around it. So there's going to be some ideas that you can take away. And I will give you a little handout at the end to help you. So if you like any of my ideas, then you will get the handout. And in the handout, there are videos that are going to show you everything that I do. I'm mad about YouTube videos, okay? And I'm just gonna, a little quote that I've written, okay? I'm sure someone else has written this, but I've written it today to get me interested in something, and I forget I'm even doing it in a foreign language. And that really is true for me, whether it's Polish, which my Polish level is like A1, A2, whether it's French, where my level is about B2, or whether it's Spanish, where my level would be like C2. What I really love is trying to find stuff in the language I'm learning that I like, because if I do that, I get lost in it. And at the moment, there are 3 things in Polish. One of them that my wife laughs at me, that I'm in love with, that I use all the time in my studies. So let's talk about the serious ones, and then there's one that's less serious, but very curious. So this is a website that I use to learn Polish, okay, that's got video content on it, and I have to actually pay for that one. It's daily Polish listening, and there's video and there's listening content, etc. Okay, and that's great because the guy often focuses on Polish culture and takes you around to visit different Polish places, and I love learning about Poland, and so that's brilliant. And it's great because, of course, it's in Polish and I'm learning Polish. The other one that's interesting is this one here at the bottom about with podróże, where we're talking about this lady travels all around the world. And again, she takes me to all these exotic places. And so I'm really interested in the content, and I almost forget that I'm learning this in Polish because the content for me is so interesting. Let me move the camera here so that I kind of look at myself, all right? Okay, so those are 2 that I really use a lot. And then there's this funny one that I've I've kind of fallen in love with this girl. Her name's Jessa. She's actually very glamorous and not the type of woman that I would really be interested in some ways, because she's very, very materialistic. But she does a podcast where she travels around the world. I guess she's trying to advertise different products. There's something going on, but her Polish is amazing. And I followed her and followed her, and I've learned so much about her. I've become to really get to admire her because she speaks about 3 languages. She was actually once a kind of very young model. Now she's a very independent lady. She's actually Polish, but she lives in, or now she's living in Poland, but she originally lived in Germany, and she speaks fantastic English, and she's traveled all over the world, and she's very, very ambitious. And I mean, parts of her videos don't interest me because she talks about the clothes she's wearing and the makeup she's got on, which I'm not that interested in. But all of the traveling that she does and a lot of the things that she talks about, I find really interesting. And so I've followed her. Now, these 3 people have had a huge impact on my learning of Polish, because I think there are 2 key things that I can do on my own. That is watch videos and read. Study a bit of grammar and study some vocabulary as well, but I like to be exposed to the language. And so I'm an addict, and I've done the same in Spanish and the same in French. But now, of course, we have access to the internet, particularly to YouTube, and we've got all of these videos available to us. Now, it's really worth thinking about then, what is it that when we find video content that we want to show to our students, what is it? What makes us decide that a video is good? There's going to be lots of things that we're might want to think about, okay, when we're kind of working with video. You know, so the videos that I've chosen are often quite short. The stuff from the Daily Polish, for example, it's got the subtitles in it. It's around topics that I like, so it really kind of reels me in. As I said, I almost forget that I'm listening to it in Polish. And it really means that I'm getting a lot of exposure to the language. So I'm going to ask you a quick question. I'm just going to stop sharing. In fact, what I'll do is I'll do a new share, and I'm just going to jump over to something else. Okay, and I'm going to just do a little activity with you. I'm going to go on to Padlet, and I'm just going to click on Make a Padlet. This is a tool that you can use to collect people's ideas together. Now, there's a lot of us, but it should still work. And I'm going to click on Grid, and I'm going to ask you the question. When you're looking for content, okay, so when you look for content for teaching, and I'm guessing most of us are teaching English, so I'm going to put for teaching English, so video content. Okay, so when you look for video content for learning English, okay, let me just make sure I write that right. What do you look for? What is it about a video you think, yeah, that's going to be great, I'm going to use that in the classroom with my students? Okay, I spend a lot of time looking for these videos. So what I'm going to do is, all I want you to do is to post your answer on here. All you need to do is double click on the screen. So double click, put your name at the top. So I'm going to put Russell, and I'm going to say that I look for interesting content, okay, and short videos with titles. I like it when I've got subtitles. All right, now I haven't always got subtitles. Jessica doesn't do subtitles on her video, but the one that I pay for does, and that's absolutely brilliant. Okay, and then once you've written your idea, just click off the screen and that idea will appear on the screen. I just want to get together your ideas. When you're looking for video content, I want to get all your ideas in one place. So I'm going to click on the copy that link, and I'm going to just stop sharing, come back to the main window, and I'm going to share the link to the Padlet now, guys, and just click on that Padlet. It will open on the screen. Double click on the screen. Please write your name at the top and just tell me what it is that you look for when you're looking for video content. I mean, one thing that I've really learned about is the need for the videos to be fairly short. Long videos really don't work. I think in language teaching, even more than 5-6 minutes, because I think we often don't realize how much content there is in a video of 5 or 6 minutes. So for example, when I watch Jessica's videos, sometimes I will watch 5 minutes one day and then 5 the next. So I don't watch the whole video necessarily all of the time. Okay. Of course, it's related to what you're going to teach. It's a really good point. But generally, you don't, you know, especially if you're thinking of a flipped classroom, if you're asking a student to go home and watch a video for about 30 minutes and then do an exercise, that's a lot of work, and a lot of work without any structure. We need to think carefully about the structure. So I like videos that are relevant, things that I like, traveling. Okay, really interested in traveling, anything around culture, anything around news, anything around the environment. I find things like that, yeah. So please, if you can write your answers in the Padlets, because it'll really be interesting to get all your answers together in one place. All right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly have a look while you're writing. I can see hundreds of you writing in the window, okay, about the sorts of things. People are saying short videos. Some people are saying interesting, topical, funny. Some people are saying clear, on current events. Evelyn, Karen, interesting content with subtitles. Great. Really good. Curious, unusual content. That's a lovely one. Okay. Good content with fluent, clear English. Nice. Okay. Loads of you adding your ideas up now. Okay. Humor. People are talking about humor. People are talking about videos with target structures. That's interesting. I generally don't worry too much about the structures, but it's a very interesting point if you're practicing a certain language area. Okay. Clear speaker, says Christine. Okay. Quick and dirty, says someone, and that's a nice word. Really quick and dirty. It's fun. It's going to work. I really like that. It's a phrase that I often use when I talk about teaching and learning. Loads of you. Okay, relevant to the students, topical. There's some brilliant ideas coming up, okay, on terms of what people, entertaining, lovely point. Christine, lots of you are, let me just screen share, okay, just so that we can see a little bit what people are writing, okay, about the content that they look for. So let me just screen share that, okay, and we can see a little bit. Okay, some of the ideas that people are putting onto the screen, absolutely loads of them, because we've got a really big class here with hundreds of people logged on, but I can see lots of people here. And it is, as someone's mentioned as well, you've got to surf, you've got to find it. Relevant topic, says Catherine. Attainable language. That's a lovely point. Attainable language. Sometimes that's the problem with the videos with Jessa, the Polish girl, is that she does speak quite quickly. She gets very excited about all the things that are going on, but it is useful to me. Related to the learning content, yeah, so linking it back to the book can be a really nice thing as well. Okay, guys, can you stop? Because I've got so much to get through. I'm just going to show you a little trick as well that you might not be aware of. Absolutely brilliant. So you can see that we do kind of have a certain thing that we're looking for when we're looking for videos, okay? And in fact, there are techniques to help you search for videos, for example, on YouTube. Now, let me just show you something in case you didn't realize this, okay? I'm going to go back to the technology. So I'm going to click on screen share again. Thank you for that. I can see loads of ideas coming onto the screen. I don't know if you realize you can do this. I have showed this many times, but I'll do it very quickly now. You can click on this button, okay? And you can add an extra layer to this activity, and you can add comments. So now, if I click on that button and save it, now you can go back to the same Padlet and add your comments. So I'm going to add a comment here for what Licha said, okay? So I say, I agree, fun and short is good. Okay, so I really like that comment there. Okay, so I'm going to add on another one. Okay, good articulation. Yes, I agree. Okay, it is important. It's also a really nice point. Good articulation. Yes, we need the videos to be clear. Of course, it is important that we hear different accents, though. We want good articulation, but we want it with different accents, because remember, most people learning English will speak to non-natives in English. It's very important to remember that. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay, culturally relevant. Yes, for me, this is really important. So what I want you to do, I just want you to go back onto the Padlet and just read a few of people's ideas and comment on them. Just really quickly, go back to the same Padlet, okay, and just add a few little comments. So I'm just going to stop and put that in the chat window. Okay, it's just a little technique that you can do when you're working with Padlet. Yeah, if you get your students to add up ideas, and what we're thinking about is what is good video content here. Okay, that's what we're trying to look at. Then this is a nice technique because you can click on add comments. Now the students can read what other people have written and then respond to it. And that's what you want to do with content when you're doing something online. I'm just going to give you a quick moment to do that. Okay, so really going to come back in a sec and just see how you're getting on. So let me just come back to the presentation. Lovely. Okay, so just going to hopefully see in a minute that you've been comment on it. And I wanted to start this way because I did want to, you know, when I look for content and I'm looking on YouTube or I'm making use of some of the paid tools that I use in Polish, then these are the sorts of things I'm going to look for. And one of the things I think, one of the reasons that I fell in love with Sensations English is because many of the comments that you're making, when I saw this website, I thought, wow, that does exactly. I wished I had this in Polish. I wished I had this in Spanish. I wished I had this in French. And it really opened up my eyes. And you'll see in a minute why I was so impressed. Okay, but let's just go back and see if you've made your little comments, because that's really interesting little technique that we can use. Okay, and I can see loads of you now commenting on what other people are doing. So don't forget, if you want to use Padlet, all right, you can do that. And another little trick with Padlet, guys, is if you click on share, once you've done an activity, you can then print that out as an image. Okay, and then you can, once you printed that out as an image, you can then delete that Padlet and start all again, all right? Because when you're using the free tool, you only get 3 Padlets for free. Remember, you can archive 5 other Padlets. But what I used to do with Padlet is just simply print the image out, delete the Padlet because you've got an image of it, and then you can use it again. Okay, so it's quite a nice technique. Let me jump back to the presentation, okay? And just want to talk about, so one of the key things I want to say about just video generally, okay, is that really one of the things that we want to do with video is help our students to become more autonomous. This is something we've really got to think about a lot. Let me put the camera in the right place. Really got to think about a lot in the future, okay? Because more and more of our teaching may be online in the future. We don't know at the moment, but it is, if we're going to effectively teach online, we've got to help our students to become more autonomous and opening up their world and making them realize that this video content is available where it is on YouTube or on a paid site like Sensations English is really, really important. Okay, so what we want to do is make sure that they, you know, we want to find content that is going to be relevant to them. Okay, and that's one of the key things that we want to do. And, you know, one of the great things about autonomy, one of the great things for me about my interest in video is that I can be listening at any time. I might be on the car, might be on the train, etc. So I really trying to increase the amount of time that I listen. Now, I'm only going to listen to things I'm interested in. So this is something we've got to get across to our students. We've got to help them to find the content. One thing that I do with my students is I train them to search for material, okay, or direct them to good content. For example, like some of the content that I'm going to show you today, okay? And we might come back to a couple of these points. So one of the key things to remember is you don't learn a language with a teacher. The teacher helps you to learn the language. I got teachers in Polish, they're helping me, but it's really the time that I put in on my own, or the effort I make to speak Polish when I'm in Poland, or the effort I make to speak to my wife's family, or the effort I make because I like readers and because I like listening to videos. The learning a language is done outside of the class. Some of it's done in the class, but learning a language is done outside of the class. And so we've got to give our students the tools to be able to work on their own and study. And that's one of the reasons why I'm a massive fan of working with video content. Okay, so keep that in mind. It's the teacher helps, the teacher can direct, the teacher can provide some support, but really it's up to the students. It really is them that makes the content, you know, really makes the learning take place. Now, you know, some of the things that you're just talking about, And I want to kind of summarize some of the things that I think about when I think about choosing video. I want an emotional connection. I'm looking for stuff that I am interested in. I want it to be relevant, connected to me, connected, something I'm interested in. Normally, I want it to be contemporary, though I do like history a lot as well. And I like it if I can learn something at the same time that I learn a language. I love that double where I can learn something, but also learn something with a language. And I do find the subtitles really useful. I generally like to have short videos, and I generally like videos if I can find them that have got related exercises. Okay. Now, over the last few weeks, I've been practicing using English sensations, and I've tried a few activities. And what I'm going to do with you now is show you a few activities that I've done with English sensations. You can do the same without English sensations. So the activities are going to be relevant to anyone, but at the same time, you will get a chance to see how good this material is, but also what I do, what I've done. So I have a group of students that I do practice lessons with just to keep practicing teaching, because these days I'm a teacher trainer. So what I want to do is I'm going to just jump over and just show you a couple of things. So we're going to jump over to the video English website. So let me just do a new share. So let me just jump over to here. I'm going to come over to the site, and I just want to show you a couple of things that why I kind of fell in love with this site, and then what I've been doing with it. Okay, one of the things I really like is the content. Okay, so you've got videos, and if I click on, let's just start with the natural world. Okay, if I click on the natural world, so if I click here, these are the current stories that are up on the site. Okay, we've got student campaigns for St. Vincent victims. Okay, we've got this thing about coral reefs, which I've been watching today, which is absolutely amazing, and it's about adding these special basically plates that they create and put on the bed of the sea, and they help the coral to grow. If we come down here, we got a brilliant one about elephants and avocados in Kenya, and the problem of the areas where the elephants are living are also the areas where they're growing avocados, and we got a real battle between the elephants using the land for themselves and the land being used for farming avocados. I love this sort of content. This is the sort of thing that I'm interested in. Okay, there's just tons of it. This is an incredible story about Pablo Escobar's hippos loose in Colombia. Pablo Escobar, who was the drug baron in Colombia, and now he apparently had some hippos, and these are now loose in Colombia. Incredible stories. Okay, I was looking at this one about an island in Hong Kong that I didn't even know about. So I like this material, but there's something else about this material that I really like. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to show you a video, and I'm going to show you what I did with this video. We're going to jump over for the first one. I'm going to come over to the hard news. So these are some experiments that I did with some of my students. Now we got lots of interesting news. This one here about the sinkholes in Turkey and this traffic jam in the Suez Canal. Okay, now what I'll do for the first one is I'm actually gonna let's start with the Suez Canal. Okay, so we're gonna click on this video. Now, in fact, we'll start with the one about the attack on the US Capitol, and there's a particular reason I want to start there. So I'm gonna click on this video. Okay, I actually used both of these, the one about Joe Biden and this one here. So I'm gonna click here a minute and just open up this video onto the screen. Now, the first thing about this video content is that you can choose the level, and this I love. So in other words, you can either hear the commentary for the video at a really low level, beginner level, with or without subtitles, or at the same video but at a much higher level of commentary, all professionally done. Okay, and I love that, because one of the things I'm thinking is that I can try and get the students to listen to a video, say, for example, the group that I've got at the moment at, say, level B1, and then do some activities around that, and then maybe push the level up and see, can they follow at level B2? So I can kind of be building their level through an activity. And the fact that I can choose what level I want to watch the video at. Now, there's another thing. When I decided to watch this video, to do this one here, And we'll take level B1, just quickly watch a little bit of it. In fact, let's start really low level. Let's just take an A2 level, okay? So we're gonna just watch this video at A2 level. I'm just gonna click on it, and I will make sure that you guys can hear the audio, which is really important. So we're gonna be sharing the sound. Okay, I'm just gonna click on it a little bit and just play it, and then I'm gonna show you what I did.
After the US presidential election, the United States Congress meets to count the states' votes. This tradition happens on the 6th of January, but there was trouble. President-elect Joe Biden won the vote, but President Trump hasn't accepted this. He says that he won the election.
Now, I can turn the subtitles off if I want to. Okay, so you've got the choice of subtitles on or subtitles on. Now, you could play that video at a much higher level. Now, I use this video in a class with my students, but how I did it first of all was that I thought I want to make this topic interesting. So what I did is I used Google Earth, and this was really interesting for me because I've never been to Washington. So what I did was I simply clicked, this was the introduction before we watched the video. So I was using this in a lesson, and then I gave the students some homework as well, which I'm going to go through. So that I started the lesson like this. I went off to Google Earth and I wrote in, if I put in, I think I can just do this here. In fact, I've got it there, the White House. Okay, so I'm just going to click on the White House, Pennsylvania, and off we go. We zoom off to America and straight to the White House, which is really interesting for me because I've never been to Washington, D.C. I've been to America quite a few times, but I've never been to Washington, D.C. And what I wanted to do was just sort of show them, well, where did this all take place? Okay, where did this all take place? And for me, it was really interesting because I realized after a while, I was thinking that the White House and Capitol Hill are connected, but actually I learned very quickly that they're not. But we started by looking here, and I just want to kind of show you, we've got these buttons here that we can kind of move out and look around, okay, at different parts here. And if you notice, for example, if we look over here, we've got the Thomas and Jefferson Memorial. Okay, if we come in, we've got the White House building here. We've got this place called Lafayette Square, and that road just there is really important. It's been on the news a lot. Okay, and we got all this. We can kind of bring people, and this is what I did. I took them on a little presentation just to give them a bit of context about. And if we move out, just to come out even further, you can start to see a few things, okay, like we got the Lincoln Memorial here, the Washington Monument here, okay, and we went looked along the river here, so you got this river, and there's this Theodore Roosevelt Island, which I didn't know anything about. So I was basically introducing this whole area to the people before we started to talk about the actual rights. Here, for example, is the Supreme Court, and here is Capitol Hill. Okay, so this is the White House, but here is Capitol Hill. So I'm just going to show you a couple of things. If we come in close, okay, really close here, and I'm just doing this by clicking on the plus buttons. And don't forget, this tool technology is completely free, okay? And what I can do is I can take my little man and I can actually drop him down onto, let's just come down here. I think I'm going to the right place. And we're going to zoom down onto this, right down now, and come hopefully to, this is where it took place. This is where the riots took place. So this is what I did in the lesson. I did this little presentation to introduce the area, and then afterwards, then we played the video. So what I was trying to do was bring the video to life. And this is a technique that I use all the time. Google Earth is free. And one of the great things about Video Sensations is you've got news items from all around the world. And so rather than just diving straight into the news item, what I like to do is actually, if I can, take the people in my class to the place that we're talking about, the place that we're looking at. And I really find that this works. Now, I did a second activity with this that I'm also going to show you now. Remember, I only got 4 students on this class, but it would have worked perfectly with 15, 20, even 30 students. I'm just going to show you a little technique. So I did my presentation and it was quite detailed. I would spend about 5 minutes on a Google Earth before we watched the video. And then what I did was I created, and I think I've got it here. Let's have a quick look. Yes, I got it here. Okay. What I did was I made a little table. And I got the students just to write what they'd learned from my presentation. Okay. And then we went in and we kind of corrected some of it. I've just noticed we haven't corrected it all, but we went in and corrected some of their mistakes. So I created the table and the students had to write their name and then add their ideas. So this was like, what did you learn from Russell's presentation? Then we moved into the video. It was then I played the video by really bringing the video to life by actually taking them to Capitol Hill. And it was interesting for me because I myself have never been there. And so actually I learned more than probably they did. Okay. And you can see some of the things that people realized that there was lots of monuments there, that the government part is not the main city. There's lots of museums. There's an island, etc. Yeah. Someone said, made the comment, Google Earth is great. Okay. So there people, there's an airport in Washington that's called the Ronald Reagan Airport, etc. So as a starter, before we watch the video, we did this. Now, when we watch the video, and this is another really lovely thing, afterwards, there are related activities. And I got the student, these related activities here, that if the students are signed up and making use of this, then they can go off and do the activities. And all these activities are related to the actual video content. And there are a couple of activities here that I really like, and I'm just going to show them to you. So, you know, I use that idea of Google Earth and Google Docs with a video from Video Sensations, but you could have done that easily with any video that you use. So hopefully you've got an idea that you can use, but I want to just show you a couple of things that I loved. If I click on this one here, okay, this is great. Okay. In fact, what we do for this one, in fact, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go back and I'm just going to change make sure we got a fairly easy level for this one. So we'll do this one at a lower level. So I'm going to drop it down. So I just want to show you how relevant this can be at a really simple level. And then I'm going to come back. So the one that I'm going to do is shadowing the news reader. And I'm going to click on here. And what you have to do is you listen and then you record yourself trying to say the same sentence. Okay, so
on the 6th of January, the United States Congress counts the votes for the new president.
On the 6th of January, the United States Congress counts the votes for the new president. And I can copy what I've heard and then I can submit that. Okay, so if the students are actually logged into the system, making use of the system, they're in a class, then actually all of that would go to the teacher. But I love this idea that we can do this, okay, that we can actually kind of go to the sentences. Let's just do one more.
It is an old tradition.
Okay, and then again, I can click on here. It is an old tradition. Now, the other thing is that I can actually listen to my own recording. So let's have a listen again to the newsreader.
It is an old tradition.
And then I can listen to myself on here. It is an old tradition. Now, the other okay, I was talking about in between the video. So really like this idea. So when I come across Video Sensations and I get sent many platforms to look at, and many platforms, I never show them to people on teachertrainingvideos.com because simply don't like them. But this one, I thought, wow, that is really interesting. That idea of shadowing, but of course we are shadowing from the language that we have been using. So Google Earth is really powerful in this way of kind of bringing everything to life. Now I'm going to try a little idea with you here. So I'm going to click over again, back to some of the content. I'm going to go to lifestyle. Okay. And sorry, I'm going to go to hard news. Sorry, I got the wrong one. Okay. And I noticed another lesson that I did was on this one here, the traffic jam at the Suez Canal. Okay, so I'm just going to click on the video again. Now, again, I've never been to the Suez Canal. So again, in the lesson, what I would do possibly is I would, and notice also when you work with Google Earth, when you come down to this view, okay, and you want to look around, okay, and you can also, of course, move around and look at the view. But if you click here, it just brings you back again into the top view, okay? So you can kind of, and then if you click on the 3D, you can kind of move around and see the image or the area. So it's really interesting to work with, okay? And you can kind of move right out or move in. But let's zoom off to the Suez Canal, okay? So I'm going to write in here Suez Canal. Let's imagine that I was doing a lesson on the Suez Canal. I'm going to zoom off to the Suez Canal. So say bye-bye to America. We're zooming off to Egypt, okay? And here we are. Now, I don't know if I've never been to the Suez Canal. And again, if you're going to use this in the class, this particular video, then this could be a great way of starting. And the Suez Canal is absolutely fascinating. So if I start by just coming in close, and then you start to realize, okay, so in fact, let's start from afar so you can understand why it was built. Okay, so if you come right out, you can see that here is the Red Sea. And here is the Mediterranean. If we come way out, right out for a minute, you can see that until the Suez Canal was built, the boats had to go all the way around Africa, okay, before they could make their way to India. And that we're talking about something like around 5,000, I think it's around 5,000 miles is that the length of that journey. So this really saves them a lot of time. In fact, it's 9,000 kilometers. So 9,000 kilometers. But when they built the Suez Canal, which was completed in, I think it was about 1869, then suddenly people could just go straight through the middle. And if I come a bit closer, okay, you'll see then that is, I had to build basically two parts because I had to build this part of the canal here. And then if we come along here, this part of the canal here, and notice that some parts of the canal, there's like two parts as well. So I can come right in close to this, okay, and really look at it. In fact, we can come in so close, we can see the ships that are zooming down the Suez Canal, and there they are. Incredible, okay? Again, bringing the video to life that I'm going to show the students after. So if we're doing the Suez Canal, what a brilliant way of introducing the topic before you start the video. Remember, we want to build emotions. We want to build a connection with what we're watching. And this is a technique that I use a lot. I'm really in love with Google Earth. Sometimes when I do teacher training and I ask the teachers at the end, what technology do you like the best? And I'm always disappointed that they put Google Earth so low, because I think a lot of people just don't realize how fascinating it is and how you can connect it to what you're doing in your book or what you're doing in a video. So again, we could notice the Suez Canal, see, for example, it's got this part where there's kind of two parts. There's a part, then it goes back again, and it goes all the way down until we eventually come out right at the end. Amazing. Okay, just to say, you'll see in the end that we come right out to the end of the Suez Canal, and of course it comes out, I think it's Port Said, yeah, I think it's called, yeah, Said. Okay, absolutely amazing, fascinating. But again, if I'm going to show a video about the canal, then what a brilliant way to start. Okay, so then in this one is actually a listening. So there's video and there's listening. And again, the homework could then be for the students, or again, it could be in class, but it could be for the students to do some of these activities here that are underneath. So this is a technique that I use. So one thing as well, just going to come back, as I said, what I'm kind of suggesting is that you need to bring something to life, build a context around it, and then it's a great opportunity to show the video once you've really kind of got a connection with it, and it contextualizes the news and really brings it to life as well. Another nice feature in terms of the activities that students can do is that afterwards, if they click on this one here, they can actually listen to the news at different speeds as well. So they've got a transcript here of a news story, and they can actually listen at slow speed, which is actually quite slow, medium, or quick. Now, this is interesting because I do the same when I'm learning Polish. I sometimes, particularly when I use YouTube, but also the one that I pay for, I slow the speed down. Okay. Now, the other thing that I wanted to show you is, and this is, as I said, is that if I'm going to use, often I would use Google Docs to get my students to kind of engage with me. Remember, I showed you that example where my students wrote their comments. Now, I use this technique a lot. So after watching a video or after a presentation, but before they watch the video, I get them to share their ideas in a Google Doc. And I make this square for them. I make the table to make it absolutely clear. Now, I do this at really high levels as well. So if I was to come down, I might be able to show you some really high level examples where I've done the same idea. Let's see if I can quickly show you one. Yeah, look at this one here. So this is on the teacher training course, exactly the same idea. I simply create the Google Doc, okay? And then I've got all these different people writing in their comments. So let me quickly show you how I do that. So this is a great way, again, of connecting to video. So all I do is go to, obviously you need to go to your Google account, go to Google Docs. And let's say that we're gonna do, what have you learned about the Suez Canal? What have you learned about the Suez Canal? Okay, so I've done a little presentation. Now I want to know what my students have learned. And all I do is click on Insert Table. And let's say I've got 20 students. So then I'll put down like that. Okay, so it's another little technique you can use. And then I get the students to put their name on this side and then their comments here. Okay, now what I then do is I need to share that with the students. So I click on the share. Best also what I tend to do is move that back like that, okay? Then I click on the share button, and all you need to do is make sure that you change this though. You're gonna, okay, because you need to make sure that this is gonna be public. Anyone with this link, okay, can edit. Now you would share the link and people can then write. So this could be, you've watched a video, or you've watched a video and you want to find out, you want to get their ideas together and you want them to put it into a Google Doc. It could be for homework. I'd sometimes do this in the class. You could use Padlet for this, but I'm just trying to show you that another nice technique is to use Google Docs. If you're working with adults, sometimes with younger learners, you don't like working with Google Docs because you're not always sure that they're not going to delete what someone else has written. So in that case, Padlet would be a better tool, or Wakelet. But I use this technique a lot of trying to build around the video, but both using the content that's available on Video Sensations, but also building activities around the lesson as well. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing for a minute. Okay, and was that useful? Was that, can you see the power of Google Docs? I haven't been looking at the comments, so just be interested to see if anyone wants to add a little just to tell me there. Just be interesting. Okay, one of the things I'm really saying to you is, you know, if you're going to use video content, okay, then make it relevant. And Google Earth, right, you've all got, guys, you've got to start voting more for Google Earth. It really is. Okay, Sensations is not free. Okay, remember, this is high quality. I don't want to be a salesman for Sensations. I'm nothing to do with Sensations English. They just invited me to come in and do a presentation, and it was in an opportunity to present to my people on teacher training videos. Okay, and I wanted to make the point that I'm going to show you some ideas that you can use, whether you use Sensations English or not. But in Sensations English, the video content is superb. Okay, it's all of those things that I love: short videos, relevant topics I like, transcripts on, transcripts off, being able to play the videos at different levels. I tried it out with my students. As I said, I've got these 4 practice students that I work with to test all my ideas. And it's just so useful, okay, in terms of the way we work. Now, I thought we'd finish, right, by actually doing an activity as well, just to get you, kind of thinking a little bit more. And we're going to introduce another technology into this lesson. If I'm lucky, I might introduce 2, but we're running short of time. Let's see how we do. But I'm going to come back and show you another video, but this time we're going to play the video and look at an activity we can do after. All right, so we've been looking at using Google as a brilliant introduction into working with the videos from Sensations English. Now I'm going to look at an activity that we can do after and show you some of the things that I do. Okay, I'm going to come back in I'm going to play a bit of a video, one that I'm really interested in, and I'll make it fairly easy. Okay, so I'm going to come back onto the screen. jump back into my presentation. Okay, I'm going to come back to the Sensations English. Right, good. 1 second, be with you. Okay, so I've got to remember where this one is. I think if I remember rightly, it's in, let's have a quick news. It might be hard news. I love this story, or it might be or I can't remember. Let me just see if I can find it for you. Or it might be in the nature part. Okay, I think it's in the nature part, guys. I've been looking at all these different sections, and even when you click on a section, so for example, going to natural world, you've got some subsections to help you here. The one that I want to look at is, hopefully I can find it. Just have a quick look. Hopefully it's there. Hang on a minute. Where is the one that I wanted to show you? Yeah, this is the one. Elephants and avocados. Okay. I get so lost in this website. I've been watching so many of the videos. I keep watching it even just when I've got 10 minutes free, because they're so interesting and find all this content in one place. We'll watch this at a low level. So we'll choose A2. Okay. And we're going to do a little activity. So this might be something you do after. Okay. Now, the activities that are available for you afterwards, remember, if you've got used to Sensations English, but let's just have a look at another activity that you could do. So I'm just going to make sure that you can hear the audio. So yes, you can. Let's just play the video for a couple of minutes. Really interesting story, a bit sad, but still very interesting. Again, very informative.
Tolstoy the elephant wandered southern Kenya. He hasn't had the easiest life. He has survived hunters, and he has lived through water shortages. Now he has a new enemy: avocados. In recent years, this healthy fruit has become more popular in rich countries. Farming business Kili Avo Fresh wants to grow avocados in Kenya. Last year, it purchased land from the local Maasai people. The government allowed Kili Avo to plant avocados on the land, but environmental charities are worried about the effect on elephants. Daniel Ole Sambu works for the Big Life Foundation. He says elephants need the land to have babies.
There are 2 farms there, and both of them are exactly in the middle of a wildlife dispersal area. Some of this we have recorded. Some of this area has been used by elephant as maternity. You know, they come out of the back, outside the park, give birth there, and then they go back when the calf are good enough to walk. So when you do a large farm there, then it means we are going to lose that space. The elephant has to find another space.
Avocados have been good for Kenya's economy, but many people are angry about Kili Avo's plans for the huge new farm. Samuel Kanki is worried that even more land will become avocado farms.
If we lose this land, if Kili Avo will be allowed to continue, we will lose others. We have so many others people who are waiting. So it is dangerous. If we lose this, we will lose so many.
At the moment, the government is reviewing Kili Avo's plans, but the company is continuing to plant avocados.
So in this activity, the homework was to watch the video for homework, okay? And then I set the students a couple of activities to do here, okay? Now, in the lesson, at the beginning of the lesson, I wanted to quickly see, okay, do you remember the video? So I set up an activity on WordWall. Okay, so the homework was using English sensations, but when they come back into the class, I made an activity. I'm going to quickly show you the activity. WordWall is free. You can have up to 5 games. I've talked about this many times. It's the most popular technology on my website last year for quick activities. And in this activity, all you need to do, and I'm going to quickly show it to you, is drag, okay? So for example, Kili Avo Fresh is a company that grows avocados. Tolstoy lives in, okay, remember the name of Tolstoy was the name of the elephant, yeah? The elephants have their babies on their land, and you have to basically so I did this as a refresher activity. Now I'm going to quickly click on share and get you to do this activity to see if you can get it right. So I'm going to click on share assignment, click on start. I'm going to copy this link. I'm going to come back and I'm going to share in the window. And I know lots of you have used this a lot because you're working with me, but so I know that I've been talking about this a lot, but I want to show you that link, how I link it together. The homework was to watch the video and to do some activities on Sensations English. Now we come into a lesson which is in Zoom, and I want to remind them quickly about the video they saw. So I get them to do this activity instantly at the beginning of the lesson. Right, guys, did you watch the video? Click on the link and do it. So guys, can you click on that link now and do that activity for me? Okay, I've pasted the activity in the screen. When you finish, can you write done? So please, everyone, don't write in the chat window, do the activity, okay? I'm just showing you how I connect things together. We've talked about what you might do before a video. Now, I've set the homework. The students watch the video on Kenya and the avocados, and they do some of the activities on videos on Sensations English. Then in the lesson, right, guys, good morning. Homework was to watch a video. Let's see if you remember. Bang, I give them a word wall exercise to do straight away. Okay, so what I'm saying to you is that it's really important how you connect activities. So you're making the use of the video, you're prolonging it, and you're bringing it into the class, okay? I can see that quite a few of you have done this. I'll just give you a couple more minutes. Once you finish the activity, guys, I'll just very quickly talk about Word Wall. It's free for 5 activities, but you can then, okay, you can then edit the activities and use them again. So you can use the same activity with Kenya, then change it for Washington, then change it for, so you can edit the games, okay? So it's brilliant. If you want to try and connect the use of video into the lesson, that connection part is massive, okay? So if I come back now, to the screen share and have a quick look at what you've just done, hopefully some of you have done the exercise, okay? If I come back here, and I'm just going to click here, and I'm going to go to my results, and if you can see how much I use this technology, and if I scroll all the way down, I can see that 68 of you have done that activity, and I can click and even see, did you get it all right, or did you make any mistakes? In fact, nearly everyone got it right. Well done. That means you must have been listening to the video. Well done, guys. Okay, and I get even a breakdown of where some people might have made a mistake. Okay, obviously we were rushing. So this is a nice Word Wall is a really nice technology to link into the use of video, particularly when we're looking at the kind of what I call I'm going to sort of when we're talking about what I call this springboard idea, because the activity I would do afterwards would be then to discuss the video that we've watched at home. So I use the video for a springboard into the lesson. I don't use the video and come into the class and say, let's check the homework. No, the video for the homework is a springboard into the lesson, so that when we start the lesson, we come straight into the lesson. It's almost like a flipped classroom idea, okay? And this is what I try to do a lot with my students. It doesn't always work. I obviously experiment a lot, but I love this idea of connecting. So watch the video at home, do the exercises on English Sensations. In class, bang, Word Wall first, then we set up a discussion. And we get the student, I give the students some questions to discuss in groups. How do we solve this problem? Who's right, who's wrong? Okay, so I really connect the lesson. So it's almost like a flipped classroom lesson. Okay, so one of the things is, you know, you don't have to use English Sensations. You can use video from YouTube from my ideas. But what I like about the English Sensations video content is that it's exactly the sort of thing that I love. I just wish that I had this content in other languages. Okay. Right, guys, I'm aware of time. Okay, that was Word Wall. And I've done something very special for you for the end of this, okay? I've got a handout that just goes through the technologies that I've showed you today. That is Google Earth, that is looking at video sensations, that is looking at Word Wall, that is looking at Google Docs. All you need to do is to email me, at teachertrainingvideos@gmail.com. I'll put this in the chat window. In the subject, write sensations and then just say to me, hello, I am blah, blah, blah from blah, blah, blah. Automatically, you will get this handout with all the videos for the different technologies that I've showed you, including some information about English sensations, okay? So I will put this in the chat window. I want to say a huge thank you to Sensations English. I do honestly love the product. I think it's superb. I wouldn't show it to my teachers. All the teachers on my website know that most of the time I only show free technologies unless something is outstanding. And I do believe that the video content in this website is superb. And that's one of the reasons why I was very happy to do a presentation on their behalf. Okay, I'll put this in the chat window. We might have time for a couple of questions. So let me just stop sharing and I'll put that into the chat window. Teacher training videos. Okay, let me spell it right. Otherwise, we're going to get teachertrainingvideos@gmail.com. If you email me, guys, you get that handout and there's a video to show you how to use WordWall. Video shows you about English sensations. Video shows you how to use Google Docs, the idea that I use a lot. And also, what was the other one? Of course, Google Earth. Yeah, Google Earth, of course. Okay. So guys, hopefully give you a few ideas there. Any questions that Adam that we want to deal with at this point? I know we're slightly over.
Yeah, Russell, hi, thank you very much for that. That was amazing. Now we've got a few questions and one really important one. Do you think the length of the video may be subject to the focus, i.e. whether it's language or skills practice?
Okay, well, I have to admit, generally, I'm not doing video for so much for language practice. I'm very much thinking about video in terms of just building up their general listening skills and their ability to listen and to engage with native-like material. So I don't generally use it as a language-focused thing. Obviously, if you are doing that, and then normally in that case, you kind of have to find a video that's been specifically made to practice a certain grammar point, whether it's the present simple or the past simple. Then obviously those videos, I mean, the length of a video, what really matters is the preparatory work you do for it. The more preparatory work you do, the more scaffolding you give the students to work with, the longer you can actually allow them to watch a video. So that's really the key point, hence the reason why I was talking so much about Google Earth. In my experiments using English sensations, I've been using Google Earth a lot as a way of bringing the videos to life. So I think the answer is normally with language focus, it will be shorter because you just want to focus on the language. The content isn't so important. I generally don't use video for that reason. I'm really using, for me, it's very motivational. It's about, wow, I can suddenly understand something in a native language. When I listen to Jessa, my Polish girlfriend, my wife's not around, so I can say that, then, you know, what it is that I love that, God, every day, a little bit more, I understand what she's saying. So that for me, it's very much about, you know, about the interest factor and less about using video for language practice.
Great, thank you. And another question on that was, what video length do you suggest?
Well, that's another reason why I like your videos, because they're not too long. I mean, the one that I just played now, what's that? Probably 3 minutes, not even that, I don't think.
They're mostly about 2.
Exactly. So I think I'm right in saying that if you go to the higher level, they're slightly longer. Is that right? Obviously the commentary is more complex. I'm not sure.
Yeah, the video generally stays the same length.
Right. Okay. So I mean, I honestly think that 2-3 minutes, especially if you're going to use it as an activity, then that's enough. Yeah, 2, 3, 4 minutes will work. So that was another reason I like the videos. Now, when I'm studying on my own, well, that's different. Yeah, because I sometimes just put a video on and watch it as a learner. Not when I'm working with my teacher, but when I'm just working on my own. And I might choose something a little bit longer. But even if I'm working on my own, I'm normally only maybe playing with the videos that I like in Polish, maybe 5-6 minutes max. And then I'll watch another part of the video the day after. Okay.
Great. A question about Google Earth. My learners are all using their classes on their cell phones. Would I be able to use Google Earth without their screens freezing up?
Ooh, I mean, the problem is your connection, guys. All right, so you're the one presenting using Google Earth. So it's not too much of a problem for them. Okay, as long as they've got a goodish level. They won't be able to show you Google Earth themselves. No, obviously, if they got a slow connection, but they should be able to see you presenting because you're pumping out the video from your system. So obviously it could freeze, but that will be much less of a problem than if I, for example, ask one of my students who's got a slow connection to do a presentation, which I do though. I actually get my students to do presentations using Google Earth and they love it. But obviously, only if I'm working with students that have got a good enough connection to work with, okay? But if you're presenting using Google Earth and they're just seeing it on their telephone, then that shouldn't be too much of a problem. You're the one who needs the good internet connection to share Google Earth via Zoom or via Microsoft Teams.
And another question, what is the importance of subtitles?
It's a big one, isn't it? It's a big debate. Do you know what? I read a white paper on subtitles today, and some people don't like them. I do. I really like them. And what I love is this option to turn them off, because what's really interesting is maybe to watch the video with the subtitles and pick up a few of the words and then turn the subtitles off and then listen and see how well you do. Again, particularly working on your own. You know, one of the things that I said to you at the beginning is language learning is not about what you and I do as teachers, guys. It's about what the students do in their free time. So teaching them these techniques. Yeah, watch the video with the subtitles, note a few of the vocabulary, check that vocabulary, turn the subtitles off and watch it again. Yeah, again, that's almost like scaffolding. That's another element of scaffolding, so really powerful.
So I have got one request here, Russell, that can you put your email in the chat for the web so that people can get the handouts?
The handout, guys, for today, all you do is teachertrainingvideos@gmail.com. And I'll write it down again, teachertrainingvideos@gmail.com. Okay, some of you are much faster at typing than me. Okay,
that's brilliant.
Teachertrainingvideos@gmail.com, and all it is, it's automated. Okay, don't forget the subject is sensations. Yeah, English sensations or just sensations will do, and you will get that handout, and the videos will show you how to use Google Earth, how to use Google Docs. I'll look at video sensations and also how to use WordWall.
Great. One more quick question from Elizabeth. Do you use Sensations English as the foundational basis for your classes, or do you use some sort of textbook alongside to provide sequence and review of structures?
Right. Well, I don't forget, I'm not a teacher, guys. All right. So I will say something though. I'm a big fan of books. So for me, something like video sensations, if I was to be honest, for video sensations, of course I would use it in my class if I was teaching. And I've been experimenting with it because obviously I got the opportunity to practice with it. It wouldn't be the only thing I would do. I would have a course book. And as I always say to everyone, and you know, I've got it here, I'm always using a course book when I'm learning a language. I'm a big fan of course books. I think I've got my course book here actually. Big fan of, well, I haven't actually, I'm not sure where it is at the moment, but I'm a big fan of course books and I'm a big fan of readers. If you know, I like a course book and then I like to build around it. So for me, I would be using video sensations alongside a course book. And if something come up in the course book that I liked, then and I thought, oh yeah, there's a video on that subject, then now that would really bring the book to life. So I think a combination would work well. However, where I think video sensations, or sorry, Sensations English could be really interesting is for the students. It could really develop their autonomy. Now, obviously, that's the problem because whether or not students can afford to pay for it, okay? And I totally understand that, okay? And that's one of the reasons why I don't always push many paid technologies on my website. I'm aware, of course, that teachers and students don't necessarily have the money, but if you did, then I must say, I think it would be an excellent tool. And I pay for one thing in Polish. In fact, I've got two things that I pay for in Polish. You know, and I really think that it would be great for students in terms of developing their autonomy.
Thank you, Russell. I think that's a great point at which to stop. Except for a couple of things, people have asked a couple of questions about Sensations English, and so I'd just like to kind of remind people, first of all, there's this special offer for Sensations English at the moment, so you can get that for 50% off for the next week until the start of June, and you can get a special CPD program with that as well that I will be leading. And just to say that there's another couple of questions about the webinars, and the other webinars are all already available online at sensationsenglishwebinars.com and .co.uk, sorry. And this will be going up there tomorrow, so you'll get a link to the slides as well in the email with the certificate, and so you'll have all of that information in your inbox tomorrow. And someone was asking about the subscriptions for Sensations English, and the teacher, if you take out a subscription as a teacher, then you choose how many student subscriptions you get with it. So the cost is all together. So your students in your class can then have that to use outside of class as well for their own independent study too. So that's a way of getting around the idea that your students would have to pay for it as well. So you can click on the website and just find that information out. So yeah, that's it really. Thanks, Russell, so very much for coming here and doing all of this and being so engaging with all these different tools as well. Have you got any last things you want to say?
No, just lovely just to say hello to everyone that follows me on my website, and I really hope that that was useful to you. And it's always great to get a chance to present to all the people that follow my work. So that was lovely, and a big thank you to you for inviting me along and sponsoring me.
Absolutely our pleasure, Russell.